It's 7 o'clock.
7:01. Oh my goodness.
I heard you, Chris.
Yeah.
I don't know. It said Mayor at 7 o'clock.
Hey, everybody.
Not subtle.
Let me call the meeting to order. Let's do a pledge. So I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you very much. Okay. I see a full house. So I see Molly, Justice George, I see Paloma Randan, Leah's here, the city administrator is here. Who do we have from the city attorney?
Christian Gates is on with us tonight.
Okay, welcome, Christian.
Oh, thank you.
And that's that. We're going to do public comments. And if you've signed up, come on up. The first one I have is Dennis Pavlock. Dennis, you know you got 3 minutes on any topic you like.
Thank you, Mayor. Council, I just have a mixed bag tonight, two things or so. With the future parades on Main Street, with the St. Patrick's Day Parade and even Spirit of Beacon Day coming up in a few more months, we want to try to eliminate the cars on Main Street, because if there's an event and a fire truck has to get around the parade, there's cars, I believe that this was brought up years ago by another resident and no one seemed to follow through on it. And I believe it's a necessity needs to happen regarding for safety so the fire truck can get around a crowd of people and not worry about hitting a car passing the crowd. So with no cars on Main Street for the parades, upcoming future parades. And I just wanted to, is anybody familiar with this? This is the Property Maintenance Code of New York State. Let me go back and speak on that if I can. Regarding the leaf blower decibel law and the landscapers, and with that going back, I don't believe we're discussing it in workshop long enough to find out and to realize what legislation or resolutions we pass are going to, who's it going to affect, and how's it going to affect, and why is it going to affect people, businesses, small business owners. And we need to ask ourselves, who, what, where, when, why, and how before we go ahead with presenting legislation or resolutions to the community who it's going to affect. That's their bread and butter. So that was two of my comments I had tonight. So thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, Dennis. Clark Gebman?
Good evening, Clark Gebman, 2 Wilson Street. I just had a very unusual moment at this podium last hour. I appeared before the Industrial Development Agency for the county as to the Mirabel Hotel project, and I had the opportunity to speak for probably 20 minutes, which was a rarity. I'm sure I bored the heck out of them. But I would like to ask that the public hearing be put on the Beacon webpage so that the public could benefit from what I consider to be a pretty good presentation by myself as to way forward as to economic development in the county and the importance of Beacon. Rather than rehash, we're pointed criticisms and general favorability of the project, but not the process. Rather than dwell on that, I'd like to return to the subject of the benefits of a government that operates with paid employees being the professionals that can properly guide the city government as opposed to outside consultants. It's a different texture. It's a whole different ballgame in terms of informing the council members as to the way forward. With consultants, the city manager sits between you and the consultants. With paid employees, their reputation, their continued employment with the city lies directly with each council member. And there's a whole big difference in a city with increasing property values and demand from thousands, if not tens of thousands of people who would like to inculcate themselves with this community and take it to a direction that may not be in the best interest of the city. And this has been going on for 20 or 30 years, and a couple of people sitting up here are probably most responsible for it to occur. But not to personalize
15
it.
seconds.
I have 2 minutes and 47 seconds, but I count when I get up here. Nevertheless, I will conclude to say this topic cannot go away, and that if necessary, a public referendum may be in order pretty soon. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Anyone else in the public arena want to make a comment this evening? This would be your opportunity.
I'll make a comment before all the bells and whistles out there. My name is Teresa Kraft. Your intentions behind the concept of a massive build-out of micro-apartments was clear and straightforward. I was shocked to watch firsthand the rehearsed conversation between the planner, the mayor, and administrator. The amount of hand signaling and loud undertones was deafening. To wipe out years of working on Beacon zoning to push micro-apartments under the guise of senior housing is absurd, when we all know it's for the illegal immigrants that the New York State governor wants to straddle us with. There is even proof that the term and meaning of complete streets that we're also pushing is a hazard to most pedestrians. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else in the physical audience want to make a comment? Ben, anyone in the virtual audience?
If you're on Zoom and you'd like to make a comment, please use the raise hand option at the bottom of your Zoom screen. If you are using a phone, you can press *9 and you will need to press *6 to unmute once you are called upon. If you're watching on YouTube, you will need to join us on Zoom by visiting beaconny.gov. Right now we do have one hand raised. That is for Sergey Krasikov.
Okay.
Good evening here. Good evening all. Sergey Krasikov, President of Beacon, New York, Ward 3, 386 Liberty Street, Conservation Advisory Committee Chair, but here on my, kind of representing myself.
Sergey, can you speak up just a bit? We're having trouble hearing you in the City Hall.
Sounds good. Sergey Krasikov, 386 Liberty Street, Ward 3, Chair of Conservation Advisory Committee, in a dual mode here as a resident and as a chair. Thank you for the opportunity to share my thoughts. I was born in Belarus, former Soviet Union. When I was only 7 years old, Chernobyl nuclear disaster happened. The aftermath hanged like a dark yet invisible cloud over my childhood and teen years. We planned hikes and wild berry picking trips on soon-to-be classified nuclear fallout maps. We shopped with a dosimeter to test radioactive food. We were chased away from contaminated buses used to transport first responders to cancer clinics. Friends and relatives developed strange illnesses eventually linked to radioactive exposure. And why did it happen? Because of the lies. We were lied that nuclear energy is safe. We were lied that nuclear energy is cheap. We were lied that the explosion happened at all. We were lied for years afterwards about long-term health effects a lot of us would eventually suffer from. With the planned Haltech radioactive releases, the flashbacks are coming back. unless and until we find a way to design a safe, full-cycle nuclear plant operation, they shouldn't be built. And decommissioning the Indian Point underscores that point. Because of decisions to postpone making decisions, we're in a situation we are right now. I commend the city for taking on the resolution to oppose the release. I sincerely hope that this will help to build a momentum and engage EPA, DEP, and others to stop the planned releases and force Holtec to find other ways to deal with the waste. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you. Anyone else, Ben?
No other hands raised on Zoom.
Okay. I don't think we have any public hearings this evening, although there's a community segment at the back end of our laws and resolutions, so we'll get to those in a bit. Let's do reports. I got a couple proclamations, so I'll go last. I don't know, who wants to go first? George, you want to start?
Sure.
We'll go around this way.
Sure. I don't really have much to report, but those of you who have been in town for a few years or more will probably remember we used to have a annual hat parade to commemorate the hat industry here in Beacon, as well as to have a lot of fun. So it's coming back this year, finally. May 7th, I'm sorry, at 1 o'clock, starting in the parking area at Churchill Street. It's mostly going to be a sidewalk parade. There's a lot of volunteers have been talking about this for quite a while, so it should be a lot of fun. Good thing to bring the kids to. And it'll be a sidewalk parade, as I said, primarily on the east end of town. So make a hat, wear a hat, have some fun, come on out. Thanks, that's it.
I don't have much either, but there is a survey going around for the Beacon Free Loop. So if you have used the Free Loop, if you use it regularly, if you're a resident of Beacon, I really encourage you to just take that survey, and you can find it at bit.ly/beacon-loop-survey. And that's all I got.
Thanks, Justice. Just to let you know, I will have office hours this coming Saturday, April 15th, at Pole Hill Park from 3 till 5 p.m. And another comment is I hope that we, as we come to hear public comments, that we got a chance to start our city council conversation around housing in our workshop last week, and I hope we have an opportunity to continue that conversation. We had a couple of council members who were not able to join us for the start of our session. So I thought we had some great ideas and discussion going, and hope we get a chance in the upcoming workshops to keep it going. And I'll pass it to you, Jim.
And Ben, can you please mute Sergey, who's still coming through? Thank you.
Thanks. I don't have much to report because I've been traveling the last couple of weeks, but my next office hours will be held on May 21st from 10 to 12 at Trax 1 East Main. I'm not able to do April office hours, but feel free to reach out to me. My information is on the city website, and if you have any questions, concerns, ideas, feel free to reach out and I'll give you a call back. Thanks.
Just a reminder that with the warmer weather days, there are more cars driving around who don't know the streets in Beacon. I almost got creamed on my way here just from a car that didn't stop at all, pulling out of Roundhouse, and just didn't stop at all. So, out-of-state plates, just if we can just pull together and keep from crashing our cars into each other. And I'm excited about the Earth Day festivities. I love Earth Day in Beacon, how we all get together and pick up at various locations. That's going to be happening. There will be tabling and pollinating seeds being passed out at the farmer's market. And so I'm excited about that. In a couple of weeks, keep an eye out and sign up for something. That's all from me.
Yes, I'm also excited about Earth Day. There is the cleanup on the 22nd, Saturday, and yes, the pollinator giveaway on the 23rd. It's a great weekend to, and any weekend is a good weekend to be appreciating the earth we live on. And on that theme, the Community Climate Initiative theme of our Community Quarterly is going on right now. The ballot to vote your priorities is open through Wednesday. We extended the deadline. Thank you to Principal Corey Dreyer and Teacher Ann Hadeland for organizing to have the senior class in the Participation in Government class take the survey. Very excited to have them weigh in on their opinions. And you can find the ballot on the website. There are also paper copies at the library, at the rec center, and here at City Hall. Also want to plug the Taking of the Free Loop survey that's linked in the Highlands Current and around town. It's really important that we continue to have open dialogue about how this bus can be used better. I also want to highlight what Sergey said about the importance of awareness around this radioactive dumping of contaminated water. We're going to discuss it later on in the agenda. But a great local organization called Food and Water Watch is organizing a strategy meeting this Thursday evening to help organize some public advocacy around this event. If you are interested in that, you can reach out to me at pwake@beaconny.gov, and I'd be happy to pass along information. And I also am not having formal office hours in the month of April, but you can always reach me via email or phone. Happy to talk with whomever and find time. Thank you.
So I just have two proclamations for the month. I won't read them in their entirety. The first one is in recognition of Child Abuse Prevention Awareness Month. Whereas New York State and communities across our state join in recognizing April as Child Abuse Prevention Awareness Month, and all New Yorkers are encouraged to support families and promote the safety and security of children. And whereas each April we recommit ourselves to the safety of all children and take the opportunity to acknowledge the dedicated parents, family members, professionals, and volunteers throughout our communities who tirelessly work to ensure that the next generation is supported in their development and protected from harm. Now therefore be it resolved that I, Mayor Lee Kiriakou, do hereby proclaim April as Child Abuse Prevention Awareness Month in the City of Beacon, dated 4/3. It's a couple of days ago. And then this one here is particularly close to my personal situations. This is a proclamation in honor of Autism Awareness, which is also the month of April. Whereas autism is a pervasive development disorder affecting the social learning and behavioral skills of those affected by it. And whereas autism was once thought to be a relatively rare disorder, but with increased awareness and diagnosis, it is estimated to occur as frequently as 1 in 60 children. And whereas while there is no cure for autism, it is well documented that if individuals with autism receive treatment early in their lives, it is often possible for them to make significant improvement. And whereas the Autism Society of America has spearheaded an awareness effort in order to educate parents, professionals, and the general public about autism and its effects, now therefore be it resolved that I, Mayor Lee Kiriakou, do hereby proclaim April as Autism Awareness Month in the City of Beacon. Signed April 3rd, and I just want to say thank you for that opportunity for me to offer my remarks on those two important elements. Okay. City Administrator?
I don't have anything.
Okay. Christian, I assume you're good. You don't need to talk to us about anything?
Nope, we're all good on our end. Thank you.
So we've got 4 resolutions to do. Chris, there are 3 that you're going to tell us about. So first, I need a motion and a second appointing Tom Lucchese as to the position of Fire Chief.
Second.
So that sounded like Molly and Paloba?
Justice.
Okay, Molly and Justice, which do you prefer? I called
Justice is fine.
All right, Molly and Justice, good. Any comments or debates? You want to tell us something, Chris?
I'd like to, firstly, I'd like to welcome the members of our volunteer and our paid department who are here tonight to show support for the incoming chief and our retiring chief. Those of you who've maybe not tuned into the conversation before know that we have had a great run with our Chief Van Voorhis, who's been with us over 9 years. He is at some point trying to retire, but we keep roping him back in for additional projects. We are ready after an extended search, though, and very excited about the hiring of Thomas Lucchese, who you met in executive session on March 27th for the public. When we have department head hires, what we try to do is bring the department head in to an executive session to have a free flow and discussion. We did that on the 27th. Tom then came to the following workshop and introduced himself, and tonight I'm excited that we're going to hopefully vote him in and then swear him in later. And for those who didn't tune in, Tom is an assistant chief with the city of Newburgh. He has more than 20 years of emergency services experience. He has a bachelor's degree related to that, and he was chosen as the top candidate and the most all-around candidate. He has experience as a as a code enforcement officer, EMS, fire, and we think he is going to be the right person to lead our team through the new firehouse and the ongoing transition that we have. So I'd like to welcome Tom tonight. He's here with his family, including his wife Elizabeth and his sons Thomas and TJ. So welcome.
I have just a procedural question. It says on our resolution there's currently a vacancy for the position of fire chief, but we've talked about there'll be some overlap, so I just want to make sure that the wording of the resolution is, I don't want us to run into technical issues.
Okay, I think we're fine. Christian, if you think otherwise, let me know. We could change it, but we are going to have a temporary position. Like when I came on 2.25 years ago, the city administrator we had a full-time slot, and then we created a temporary slot. So we're doing the same here, so that there's some overlap where the chief can work with, the outgoing chief can work with the new chief. Yeah, but thank you.
Yeah. Yes, there's no issue with that.
Thanks for confirming.
So, 2 comments. I think it's TJ and Landon, right? Okay, just wanted to...
Oh, very good.
I remember talking to them a couple weeks ago. And then the second one is I always like to point out when I get something wrong. I was a public citizen when the proposal was made to create a full-time fire chief in the city of Beacon. And, it involved about a 1% increase in our taxes. And I thought there's, a way that we didn't have to do that, so I was not very supportive of it. I kind of have learned that, in fact, is probably the best position we've created in a long time, and we hired who I thought was one of the best people for it. So I just want to point that out. I like pointing it out to the chief. It's like, well, you didn't have me to start with, but you sure got me now. And I look forward to working with Tom as well. So.
And our staff will miss Lori's raspberry bars. His wife is quite a baker.
Yeah. Any other comments? Not a roll call, right?
No.
Okay,
Yes.
all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Okay, so we'll do a swearing in about 10 minutes,
Yeah, about 10
if we
minutes.
can hang out for a few minutes. So the second one, resolution is appointing Coleman Lawrence to the position of motor equipment operator, and I need a motion and a second.
Motion. Second.
George and Dan. Chris, you want to tell us something about Coleman?
We have openings in our highway department for motor equipment operator. We did interviews for 3 open positions and found 2 candidates that we wanted to hire, Coleman and Christopher. Coleman currently works with the Village of Millerton, and he also has experience as a water operator. So he comes with an interesting set of skills that we're hoping to optimize here. And his resume and the memo from the superintendent of streets is in your packet.
Okay. Any comments or discussion? All right, all in favor of appointing Coleman Lawrence to the position of motor equipment operator, say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? All right, 2 down. The next one, I need a motion and a second appointing Christopher Servetio to the position of motor equipment operator.
Motion.
Second.
George and Dan again. Chris, you already introduced him before. Anything
Yeah, I
else?
would just say he brings a lot of experience driving heavy equipment, construction background, and again, we think it's another good fit for the department.
Okay. Comments, questions? So all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? And then the fourth one is a resolution regarding the discharge of contaminated water into the Hudson at Indian Point. Can I get a motion and a second on that?
Motion.
Second.
So that was Justice and Paloma. And I think, Faye, you're going to talk to us for a minute about it, or is Chris going to do it?
Rock, paper, scissors? You weren't planning to? Oh, okay. This is pretty straightforward. The Holtec, which is the company that is decommissioning the Indian Point nuclear plant, wants to dump radioactive water into the Hudson River. In fact, we added another resolution to the resolution that's in your packet because of the time frame being moved up. It went from being something that was going to happen, I think, in the early fall to 30 days from now. And again, communities around all throughout the Hudson Valley are doing this. Most of the congressional delegation and the state delegation are also working on this. So this is just adding Beacon's voice to that growing call to consider other options.
All right, any
Is that okay?
discussion?
Oh, it's okay. And Faye gave a whole background on this at the last meeting. So if you want to know the real story, go back to last week's video. How's that?
All right. Not hearing any further discussion, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Okay. We now we're at a fork in the road, so we have two options. We can work on approving the minutes of March 27th, which is always an exciting prospect, or we can spend a few minutes swearing in Thomas Lucchese to the position of fire chief.
Mr. Mayor, I suggest, as we have so many people here, in particular to support the fire chief, that we do that, not that we want to deprive them of the minutes, but they're welcome to stay after.
Okay, so let me make the announcement, which is right after this, we're going to approve the minutes of the meeting of March 27th. So if you want to stay, it will be an exciting element.
I even have a potential amendment to the minutes.
Oh my gosh, so now you know you have to stick around. Okay, so how are we going to do this community segment? I'm going to go do the swearing?
You're going to go swear in
All right.
Tom Lucchese with the book, and you're going to sign the right spot. And then Tom's going to sign it. And then the Chief Envorst has a badge and a helmet to present once he's sworn in.
Microphone, right? All right. So I've got a little thing here. All right. And give me a hand. Tom, repeat after me. I, Tom Lucchese,
I, Tom Lucchese,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of New York,
and the Constitution of the State of New York,
and that I will faithfully discharge
that I will faithfully discharge
the duties of City of Beacon Fire Chief
the duties of the City of Beacon Fire Chief
according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my abilities.
My congratulations.
Thanks, sir.
All right. You're all set?
Thank you.
And I'm going to give the podium to one of the two of you or both of you.
First of all, I'd like to thank our volunteer members that came tonight, some retired members, our career members. We also have some neighboring fire departments here from career firefighters that came in tonight. And with that, and thank you for the support of the council and the committee on this selection, because not just the chief can make this job so wonderful and positive. It was the support of all the people I talked about in this membership here as the councils. So thank you very much for your support. On behalf of that, I'd like to present Tom tonight your badge. Also his helmet. Congratulations.
So I was accustomed to a chief with gray hair, or at least some gray hair. And now I got to get used to a city administrator and a fire chief who are going to outshine me, literally.
We could teach you how to do it.
Too much.
We could teach you how to do this. Shave your head. I think that would be,
Yeah?
go for it.
All right, if we all do it, I'll do it.
I'll do it. It does keep hitting shave heads.
I'm halfway there.
I think Chris said we could teach the mayor how to shave.
Absolutely. We'll do lessons at City Hall on how to save money on haircut.
Okay, now, the moment that we've been waiting for. The approval of the minutes of March 27th. I'm looking for a motion and a second.
Motion?
Second.
Molly and Ren. I hear there may be a correction.
Well, Ren's looking at me puzzledly. My memory is that in the Resolution 31 authorizing the renaming of Craig House, it was not Councilmember Walker, but Councilmember Longno who voted against that resolution.
That is correct.
Oh, very good.
Good catch.
Do I get a cookie?
We have similar voices.
Yes, I've had that problem at least once. I'm getting better.
Ben, could you please bring out a cookie?
So with that one correction, all in favor of the minutes of March 27th being approved, say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? All right. This is our second opportunity for public comment. Those who did not speak at the first opportunity would be welcome to speak now. I see no one in the physical forum, I think, who wants to speak, unless Faye has some interest.
She doesn't want to
Okay.
speak tonight.
And then, Ben, anyone in the virtual forum?
No hands raised on Zoom.
I will,
We have an executive session for purposes of contract.
okay, so I will entertain a motion to go in executive session for what purpose and for what to do thereafter.
Motion to go into executive session to discuss contracts and to adjourn immediately after.
I've got a motion.
Second.
So I've got Justice and Palomo, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Anyone opposed? So I just want to bid everyone a good night, an early good night, and then we'll do the executive session and come straight out and adjourn. Thank you.
Recording.